The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
It is, we are, and good morning, everyone. 7 after 8, 8:07, 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station. I'm Peter Boyles. It's good to have everyone here. Sunny and 94 degrees. Well, for well over 4 years, the thrust of the show is to pursue something that no one can actually answer. Who, in fact, is Barack Obama? And tomorrow, the DeSessa D'Souza will be on the show. His film, 2016, Obama's America, 2016. It's getting so much attention. It is a red-hot film. I do have some things I want to talk to him about in his some of his conclusions, but I'm looking forward to his appearance. In the meantime, this has been a go-to guy now for at least 5 or 6 of those 4 years. His name is Bob Unruh. He's an investigative reporter. I think he's a tremendous guy. And he did a piece that I read entitled, Obama Lawyer Warned Against Certifying Eligibility. Robert, good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to join you.
Take off and lecture the audience about what happened.
Well, this is an issue that you've discussed extensively in the past. It's just being brought to a head at this point, and this is the routine processes that a political party, a campaign, a candidate goes through in order to be on the ballot. One of the processes is that the Democratic Party certifies that, as in 2008, Barack Obama and Joe Biden were their presidential and vice presidential candidates. As part of that, the standard certifying documentation verifies that they would be constitutionally eligible for the positions that they're running for. That notation mysteriously was left off of most of the certifying documents that went to states for the 2008 election. You've covered this before. Mm-hmm. The problem is, if I am an official of a party and I certify something that I know is incorrect, that brings down the whole wrath of little laws called perjury. This lawyer, Larry Klayman, I'm sure you're familiar with the name. A lot of your listeners will be too. He started Judicial Watch. He is now with Freedom Watch. He has sent this letter saying, look, folks, here's the evidence. That is, there is no evidence that he's eligible. So unless you have something, unless you can produce something, then certifying him endangers your status, not just his. And that's what's going on in this particular situation.
You know, it's great, your piece, and as a sidelight, you guys contacted Perkins Coie, the law firm.
Yes, I tried yesterday.
Yeah, and there was no response from Perkins Coie.
No, it was a holiday. I do the best I can, but at some point there's we can't wait to publish a story because of a non-response.
I'll bet you lunch they never do respond, and I'll tell you. You know who they are, don't you?
Yes.
You know what role they played in the PDF file.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Perkins Coie lawyer that flew to Hawaii and brought back a PDF file, not a piece of paper, not what would be considered a court document, but rather brought back that PDF file that people claim was made by Jimmy down the hall, the layered birth certificate. And it was the Perkins Coie law firm that did that work.
That's right.
So it gets back to original birth certificate stuff as well, does it not?
Absolutely. The bottom line is who has seen what, when, and where. Yeah. And really, if you want to really point at the crux of the issue, is there are so many unanswered questions. For example, this research that we reported on earlier and we referenced in our story today, why did 49 states apparently have this document in 2008 that verified that the DNC was nominating Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and for one state which had an anomalous requirement in the state requirements, why does that state verification have the following words, that the following candidates for President and Vice President of the United States are legally qualified to serve under the provisions of the United States Constitution? Mm-hmm. And why was that variance made? That's never been explained. No. And if you get to explanations, if you get a legitimate, honest answer for a question like that, many of the other questions, all of a sudden their answers would be obvious.
Well said. Now, Here we go. Now, the Democratic Party this week will nominate, maybe it's a better way to ask it as a nice way, will they nominate the fraud again. Now, you have the document. It was done by a notary public here in the state of Colorado by the name of, her name is Sharila Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi is the chairman, and she certifies. Now, I would be willing to bet that Miss Williamson saw no documentation.
Probably not. I have tried to reach her, and I think I did some research on this some time ago. I think that's Shalifa.
Shalifa, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Fair enough. No,
the cursive is sometimes a little bit mystery. But anyway, I did a significant amount of research, and I left multiple messages for this person and never heard back.
So, the Democratic Party this week will do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And they will put someone's name into the reelection bid for Barack Obama that they have never verified. Is that fair?
They may have verified, but they haven't made that information available.
Okay, but you're being kind.
Yeah. Well, I want to be absolutely straightforward.
Okay.
You have reported multiple times the information is somewhere.
Yeah, I mean the truth
is
out there.
Somewhere.
Sure, of
the
course.
truth is somewhere. It's just not available yet.
Yeah.
So, and that's the crux. Like I said before, if somewhere, sometime, at some point, someone gets a straight, honest answer to one of the questions that's been raised over these years, then a lot of the other questions, their answers are going to become obvious. The reference to, for example, the Mr. Klayman's analysis shows that the status, the way the state of Hawaii responded to Arizona's request for verification suggests very strongly that the Hawaii officials do not have a confidence that the original documentation that they have is legally sustainable and supportable. And so given that, he went back to the laws, and the one thing that would allow them to doubt their own documentation is if the original birth certificate is altered or filed late. And you've talked about this issue in the past, too.
Sure.
There are provisions in Hawaii for a birth certificate being filed late or being altered.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if there is a legal adoption, the original birth certificate will be altered. People may not be aware of that. If there's a legal adoption, an original birth certificate will be changed. If it's filed late, that raises the entire prospect of a child being born somewhere else, because I don't have it at my fingertips, but I think it was that you can file a birth certificate up to 2 years late in Hawaii.
No, absolutely.
So you have a two-year-old child born anywhere, and all of a sudden you're filing a birth certificate.
Remember that crazy story, but Sun Yat-sen, the so-called father of modern China, had a Hawaii birth certificate.
Right.
And by the way, we were talking about the SSN, Social Security number. Barack Obama's sister, albeit born in Indonesia, has a Hawaii SSN. Her brother or half-brother has a Connecticut SSN.
Oh yeah, there are a lot more questions there, aren't there?
You can't understand. I mean, I don't understand. Well, I understand why. I don't understand why somebody isn't going to ask this question again. Is it fair to say, as the Democratic Convention opens in Charlotte, that the Democratic DNC never certified the eligibility of Barack Hussein Obama? Despite all their claims, they never certified his eligibility. Is that fair?
I would think so. And more to the point, the way the documentation was prepared and presented, it suggests very strongly, as Mr. Klayman cites, that there was knowledge of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
why else
Sure.
would there be two different certificates of eligibility?
Absolutely.
Prepared and presented? Why Why not have one certificate, make the copies, and send them out? I mean, that would be an ordinary office process. Two certificates suggest that there's some knowledge somewhere held by someone that there's a glitch.
I agree. You're wonderful, as always. And each and every day, steps are taken, little, small, tiny steps. Sometimes it's 3 steps forward and then 1 step back and then 2 steps and then 1. But it keeps moving to the conclusion, at least in my mind, that there is enormous gaps, stories, and lies, and myths and fables of the life of Barack Obama. And if he wins the re-election, it ain't going to go away.
Oh, I don't think it'll go away either way.
No, but he could be, like, you've watched Colorado politics. As soon as Bill Ritter claimed he wasn't going to run again, all the investigations into what he was doing dropped,
Yes.
Same thing was true with when we found out there was going to be not an attempt in the Senate for Bill Owens. All those investigations dropped. It just isn't going well. Who knows what will happen? But if he has a second four, this drumbeat gets louder. The drumbeat gets louder. Why? Here's my final question to you. You're a really smart man, Bob. You understand this as well as anyone. Why hasn't the Republican leadership taken this on?
That's another one of those unanswered questions. As a reporter, I have asked multiple times, and I've gotten the full range of answers that you've also heard. Well, it's not a winning issue. It's not some. There are more important things to be considered and worried about at this point. You've gotten the whole range of answers, and that's the same thing that I've heard. But to get a real bottom line, honest, from the heart, gut reaction answer, I haven't seen one.
Thank you, sir. Be safe.
Thank you.
Bob Unruh, everyone.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.